I am now being joined by Oluwaseun Quadri, a lawyer and tax professional, to discuss revenue issues that have come up in the local economy. You are welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
By the way, are you related to the famous tennis player Aruna?
Not at all. But we bear the same name.
Okay, what a coincidence.
Yeah.
Okay, the federal government just yesterday issued a directive to the Accountant General of the Federation to ensure that TIN numbers are attached to invoices before payment. This is coming from the background that there has been a loss of about 100 billion naira in revenue in the past 5 years.
Yeah.
What's your take on that?
This actual issue, it has been going on for a very long time now. And you have an instance where MDAs issue contracts to individuals and company, and ideally they are meant to deduct withholding taxes and VAT from those payments. However, some MDAs deduct those taxes, but they fail to remit it. And at some point, they can also fail to even deduct the taxes in the first place. And that will bring about a lot of shortfalls in the revenue that is accruable to the government.
Okay, as like you said, value-added tax,
Yes.
withholding tax, and other related payments were seen to be avenues for leakages.
Yes.
What is the implication for Nigeria, and in your opinion, why is tax collection and remittance such a Herculean task?
You see, it's just because it has not been a tax culture for Nigerians to pay taxes. The laws have always been in place. And with respect to MDAs, for example, I believe that there needs to be more awareness in the MDAs, and there needs to be more of a collaborative effort between the government agency and the GC themselves as being on one side of the coin. Because the state governments too should deduct taxes from contractors as well. And the FRS has been working studiously on getting that done by entering memorandum of understanding with states in order for them to remit the taxes at source that are accruable to the federal government. And the implication of this is very huge, in the sense that you can imagine MDAs not being able to fund their budget by virtue of maybe because of shortfall in the revenue, and avenues in which they are meant to deduct taxes, which will add up to revenue that they should get. They are not doing it. So it's going to really affect the funding of the budget of the federal government, and it's going to affect, the economy at large.
Okay, recently the World Bank just released an updated version of its projection of growth. Yes. What do you think of this?
The 2.5% projection growth is actually laudable. Like, you have to commend the federal government for doing a very great job. And this prediction is based on some factors. For example, you look at the commodity prices, like the oil prices. They have been firming up recently. We can see about $60, $61 per barrel. So the forecast for 2018 is looking good. And if you also look at all the regulatory reforms that happened, that transpired last year, for example, you can see that we grew 24% in the ease of paying taxes, in the ease of doing business generally. All those reforms, we should begin to get results this year. And by the end of the year, we should, if all hands are on deck, because it's just a prediction, so we shouldn't get too excited about it. Once all hands are on deck, in order to ensure that these predictions become a reality, I believe we'll be able to achieve it.
Okay, 2.5% projection growth for Nigeria. Yes. Is it achievable?
Absolutely. It is achievable, because the reason for that is because the forecast presently is looking good. The oil prices are firming up. And also, generally, the regulatory framework, like getting your visa on arrival, like registering of your company automated in CAC, and also the ease of paying taxes. By the time we combine all that to our GDP, I'm sure we'll be doing pretty well.
Okay, 2018 is on track since the year started.
Yes.
Let's look at the World Bank projections and the reports. The World Bank report has it that policymakers need to look beyond monetary policies and fiscal tools to stimulate short-term and consider other initiatives.
Yes.
What's your take on that?
It simply means that we should look at other avenues because, for example, Nigeria as a whole is not every state that is so viable that can generate a lot of money from taxes. So we can look at what we are good at as a, maybe for example, in a state like Kebbi State, we can look at how to increase the production of rice. We can look at what other states are viable at doing and to look at creating policies to generate more revenue from those aspects rather than just focusing alone on taxes generally.
Okay, talking about taxes, we move to the budget.
Yes.
Considering what is budgeted for this year,
Yes.
how do you think Nigeria's drive for revenue how far do you think we can go?
We are
with
doing
that?
very well, and I must commend the Federal Ministry of Finance, I must commend the presidency, I must commend the chairmanship of Babatunde Fowler. They have introduced a lot of unprecedented measures in order to raise revenue. For example, in the past few months, we have raised over 16 billion from the voluntary asset disclosure scheme, which relieves taxpayers from penalties, from interest, and also from tax prosecution and audits. You know, and that avenue alone has generated over that. And looking at the ease of paying taxes as well, they have reduced the burden in making taxpayers to pay for taxes. And also, if you look at other programs that have been put in place, like registration of companies, it will also increase the budget funding for 2018, I believe so.
Okay, Mr. Oluwaseyi has joined us to discuss developments in the Nigerian economy. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you for having me.